From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Brigida Mack.
And I'm Tim Nelson. Thanks for joining us for the January 23rd edition of Carolina Week.
Well, the campus is buzzing after an armed robbery near the Coker Arboretum Saturday night.
Some students are starting to question their safety on campus. Carolina Week's Regina Willis joins us now with that story. Regina?
Campus police say violent crimes are rare on campus. This was the first armed robbery here in 3 years. I spoke with one of the victims of the robbery to see how the unexpected happened.
They said things like, if you scream, I'll blow off your head, or I'll put a bullet in your head.
UNC-Chapel Hill Jr. Justin Cunningham and a female friend drove to his dorm Saturday after having dinner.
We had parked in the Arboretum because there weren't any spaces in the parking lot here.
Before they got out of the car, he saw two men walk by.
I thought they looked kind of shady, but I didn't really think, they were going to harm us or anything. And so we got out, and then we were walking back here, and on the way, they came up to us and pulled out the gun and said, don't make this any harder than it has to be. Just give us all your cash. Once we'd given them the money, they said, all right, walk into the woods. And then we came back here and called the police.
Police are still looking for the gunman, about 5'10" and of medium build, and his partner, a 5'9" man with a thin build. Cunningham doesn't think the men are locals, because they weren't afraid to show their faces.
And then secondly, they said go into the woods, which I think any student and probably anybody in Chapel Hill would have said go into the Arboretum.
The incident has still left some students concerned about their safety.
It's definitely been sort of unsettling, I guess, and sort of broken down my, belief that I lived in this safe little bubble here.
I don't think they should be worried. I think they should be cautious.
Major Jeff McCracken says, walk in pairs and be aware of your surroundings. But he adds there's no way to absolutely avoid crime. Cunningham found out the hard way that sometimes the rules don't apply. He thought he was safe using the buddy system.
It's definitely better than walking alone because, who knows what would have happened if it had been just one person. But maybe I would try to use the gang system instead of the buddy system or something.
Cunningham says although he was nervous walking around campus for a few days, he's trying to put the incident behind him and live his life normally.
Regina Willis, live in the newsroom. Thanks. In other news, we may be in the middle of winter, but it's a new season here on the UNC-Chapel Hill campus, campaign season. It's that time of year again. Campaigning is officially underway. For the next 3 weeks, posters endorsing candidates for several positions will cover bulletin boards, and candidates will be walking all across campus seeking your vote. Campaigning kicked off Tuesday night at an informational meeting for those seeking office. Candidates got a review of election rules and signed papers declaring their candidacy. Carolina Week caught up with one of those students running for student body president after the meeting and asked him how it feels to get started.
It's sort of an odd combination of being nerve-wracking and a relief at the same time. The day is finally here, but there's a lot of work ahead of us. So it's sort of an interesting confluence of feelings right now.
As of now, there are 7 candidates for student body president, 5 pairs of running mates for senior class officers, and 2 candidates for Carolina Athletic Association president. 2 positions have just 1 candidate, the presidential slots for the Residence Hall Association and the Graduate and Professional Student Federation. The general election is February 12th. Voting will once again be online.
In this week's Speak Out segment, we ask students what are the most important issues in this year's student body elections.
Probably tuition. It's a big increase. I think many people are really upset with it. So I'm looking for a person who could actually deal with it instead of just talk.
Student parking is a big issue, whether or not they're going to take it away, and also the tuition increase.
I think it's kind of important in the next 4 years that we have places to park during the school year and during the week.
Recently, the robbery that happened, so if you think about the safety features, especially at night, it's kind of very scary, walking around the campus.
I think it's parking because, that's most important for me because I have a car, and it's very convenient to be able to park on campus, and just makes life a lot easier for me.
Our sample isn't scientific and shouldn't be taken as a reflection of widespread opinion on campus.
Now an update of ongoing university issues in our Chapel Hill Roundup. We begin with the announcement of the commencement speaker. U.S. Senator and UNC Law School alum John Edwards is the final choice. He's mentioned as a possible Democratic candidate for president in 2004. Still no decision on whether UNC-Chapel Hill will accept the offer to establish a satellite business school in the Middle Eastern country of Qatar. Chancellor James Measer is scheduled to address the Board of Trustees later this week to discuss the issue. Also undecided when construction on the student union will end. The $14 million project has fallen behind because of contractor delays and bad weather. Originally planned to be finished last summer, the construction is now expected to wrap up in March.
Carolina's student government is protesting the recent decision made by the task force on tuition. Student leaders met last week to discuss their concerns about the task force proposal to increase tuition by $400 this fall. Student leaders want specifics on how the money will be used before they support the proposal. Student government's External Relations Committee Chair Frances Ferris says the tuition increase isn't the only answer to Carolina's financial woes.
It shouldn't be the students against the Board of Trustees and then the students against the Board of Governors. We should all work together as a coalition and go to the General Assembly and say, where's the money we deserve?
Ferris says student government's main goal at this point is to be sure student input is recognized now and in the future. The UNC System Board of Governors will meet February 8th to make a final decision about the tuition proposal.
Alumni donations help fund the university, but lately, recent grads haven't been giving back. Carolina Week's Katie Luvis tells us how this could affect your Carolina experience and your wallet.
The Carolina experience. The bell, the well, the walks, the talks, the dreams and the teams. Blue heaven. But do you love it enough to write a check after you graduate? Fewer and fewer recent Carolina grads are contributing. Only 12% of Carolina young alumni make yearly contributions. Wake has 20% and Duke 26%. Fewer alumni contributions means fewer student scholarships, fewer endowed professorships, and fewer campus landmarks.
To increase young alumni gift giving, the University Office of Development has created the Good to Know campaign.
Increased alumni gifts will help propel UNC to be the first public university in the nation. So the bottom line of the program is to increase the value of your degree by giving back to the university after you graduate so that you can preserve your experience and your value of your degree.
Stephen says we can expect to see and hear how good it is to know about the importance of alumni gifts throughout the next few months. In Chapel Hill, I'm Katie Luvis, Carolina Week.
Alumni giving accounts for 8% of the total budget for UNC-Chapel Hill. Most of that money goes to scholarships.
Well, I don't know about you, Tim, but I absolutely love my shoe collection. We'll tell you about a Carolina athlete who has a special bond with his shoes that not even I can compete with.
We'll be looking forward to that one. And coming up after the break, students are already making decisions for their spring break destinations. See how September 11th is influencing those travel plans. Next.
I hang out with a pretty trashy circle. The circle that helps this circle by recycling trash. We sort glass, plastic, separate cans, stack newspapers and magazines. Now, thanks to us, there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. This cereal box wants your Sunday paper. These paper clips, in a more daring life, of 56 convertibles. The circle works like this. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from or packaged in recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. It looks like this. Make a mental note. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free shopping guide. Environmental Defense, finding the ways that work.
One of the biggest organizations on campus is also one of the most controversial. Some say the Black student movement is no longer needed. I sat down with a few members of the BSM to find out if there's any movement left.
Well, I think by design, they tried to at least serve as a hub for black students.
Founded in 1969, the BSM began as a haven for black students. Today, the BSM is more of an outlet for black culture and campus unity.
We are an organization that does help to empower students, does help to provide students a voice, and then we always have our students in our community in mind.
BSM advisor Archie Irvin has seen a lot of changes in the group.
I also see a willingness by students to be more meaningfully engaged with people within the university's structure that have responsibilities for addressing issues.
BSM members attribute those changes to BSM President Christy Booker.
If your leadership is strong and your leadership is motivating you to do things on campus and to participate in the BSM, then you will.
But I think it really comes down to Christy is getting people hyped about stuff.
Members of the black student movement agree that the campus may view them negatively.
I think they think we're a unnecessary organization.
The words black student movement, that's very powerful language, and I think that a lot of times people might find that intimidating.
But the BSM would like to change the way the campus views them.
I'd like the campus to not view the BSM as being so exclusive and just out for the interests of only dealing with African Americans. The black student movement is about unity, and that unity doesn't just entail the BSM.
The BSM has a general body meeting every Wednesday at 5:30. Members invite all students to come find out what the movement is all about.
Carolina students are continuing to celebrate their freedom by remembering the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Students and faculty united in a candlelight vigil held Tuesday evening. Service projects gave other students the chance to fulfill Dr. King's message of helping others. They spent their Monday holiday volunteering in the community. This week's events have given Shannon Eves the chance to display her respect for the late civil rights leader.
Today we're able to be here, black, white, yellow, purple, and attend classes together and be friends even if we want to. And those are things that weren't possible 30, 40 years ago. And I feel that Martin Luther King was very influential in making that happen.
If you're interested in knowing what else is happening on campus to commemorate Dr. King's birthday, visit our website at carolinaweek.org.
King's legacy is about racial equality, social justice, nonviolence, and change. Carolina Week caught up with former Surgeon General Jocelyn Elders, who says change should begin with health and sex education.
College students certainly need to make sure that they practice safe sex. You have to assume that everybody, regardless to whom they are, have an STD or have AIDS. And I think if you assume that, well, then you'll do what's right and best for you.
Sexually transmitted diseases are declining in North Carolina, but the numbers don't tell the full story. Syphilis and gonorrhea rates are going down, but HIV cases are on the rise. Campus health officials still caution students to practice safe sex.
This spring break, students are thinking twice before they make their travel plans. Carolina Week's Ashlyn Gorse explains the effects of September 11th on March travel.
The Bahamas. I'm going to San Francisco.
Spain. I'm going to Maine. Florida. Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
With spring break only a month and a half away, students are getting excited about their travel destinations.
I am going to Jamaica with 3 really good friends, and I know we're going to have a blast.
But some students are waiting until the last minute to make their plans.
STA Travel, this is Tiffany. How can I help?
Tiffany Feld, manager of STA Travel on Franklin Street, has noticed the last-minute planners.
A lot of students have put off their spring break travel plans through the holiday season, just maybe to see what happens next, and now we're in just hectic bookings for spring breaks.
This year, students aren't just dreaming about sunny beaches and exotic places, they're concerned about their safety in the skies.
September 11th hasn't changed where students are going for spring break, but it has changed how they're getting there.
The biggest trend that we see is that people aren't getting on as many airplanes, drive down to Florida, to Miami, Tampa, and just hop on a boat. Cruises are definitely the trend this year.
Some students are going the distance, driving to their destinations in an attempt to avoid air travel. Though safety is important to travelers after the terrorist attack, most students don't seem too worried. They're already looking forward to taking a break from class. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ashlyn Gorse, Carolina Week.
If you haven't made plans yet for spring break, agents say there's still time to get a good deal on travel.
Well, spring break is still pretty far away, but we've got a wet start to this week.
Kelly, is the rainy weather going to stick around?
There is more rain on the way, but there is good news as far as our weekend forecast is concerned, and that's what's really important. I'll tell you all about it in just a second, but first let's go to this week's weather question, and that is, which is the only month to never record a 100-degree temperature in the United States? Your choices are November, December, January, or February. I'll be back with the answer and your weekend forecast just after the break. Mother taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for.
UNC-TV. Your remote stops here.
I can listen. I can cook. Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help. You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
Hi and welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, a wet start has meant that getting from class to class has been nothing short of a nightmare. And take a look at this video from Franklin Street, where a manhole has become more of a fountain as nearly 2 inches of rain becomes way too much for sewer systems to handle. Well, let's take a look at what is normal for this time of the month. January, in January we traditionally see about 2.85 inches of rain at this point. Now, as of today, we are past the 5-inch mark, and it's still coming down, and there's more on the way, so we'll have to stay tuned to see how much more we get this week. But let's take a look at how long the rain's going to last for now. Let's take a look at the satellite map to find out what's in store for us. You can see this big disturbance located over much of North Carolina, Virginia, and parts of Maryland. Now, luckily, this system is going to lift off to the northeast in the next couple of days, but the bad news is there's more wet weather on the way. And let's take a look at our surface forecast map to find out when. Now, this takes us through about Friday morning and Friday afternoon, as this frontal passage is going to sweep through North Carolina as we head into Saturday. The good news is with this system, it should be off the coast come Saturday afternoon, and we should be looking at a return to some sunny skies. Let's take a look at how that shapes up on our Carolina Week 4-day forecast. You see, on Friday, there's that chance of rain. It'll be scattered throughout the day. But hopefully by Saturday morning, we'll be seeing the sun again. With a high of 56 on Saturday, it should warm up to a very nice 60 degrees on Sunday. Monday, we'll be looking at much of the same, and lows should be in the mid-40s throughout, mid-30s throughout the weekend. So the lows will be pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Let's take a look at the beach forecast this weekend. You can see Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the weekend. Saturday, you can expect a high of 63, 64 on Sundays, and lows should be just about 42 on both days. Now, if your weekend plans include a trip out to the mountains instead, things should be a bit cooler out there. As you see, 51 is your high on Saturday under partly cloudy skies. On Sunday, much of the same, heating up a little bit more to 55 degrees. And now most people out in the mountains would like some of this wet weather to come down in the form of snow. I can't say that's going to happen, but right now some of North Carolina's ski resorts are looking at 9 trails open in Appalachian, 7 in Cataloochee, 14 at Ski Beach, and 20 are open in Sugar Mountain. So for the time being, skiing is a good bet for weekend plans. But before I let you go, let's get back to the weather question, and that is, which of those months have never recorded a 100-degree temperature?
Well, I'm going to say January.
It is. January is truly the coldest month in all of the U.S., and we've never seen a 100-degree temperature during it.
Interesting. Thanks a lot, Kelly.
Sure.
Moving over to sports now. Ben Hayes, it was a bit of a slow week for sports.
But there are some big games on the horizon.
I'll tell you about all the games that went on this past week. But first, as we go to break, the bracelet distribution for Duke basketball tickets started this Wednesday, and students certainly weren't fighting each other to get in line. Students can still get bracelets through Friday, and seniors will have priority for tickets to the game on January 31st.
North Carolina is where the wonders never cease. It's where visitors and residents alike can be touched by these things and always remember the embrace of clouds around a mountain peak, sparkling water forever in a hurry, a bridge less traveled, an enchanted wetland forest, and the place where the sun meets the sea.
The Ronald McDonald House is a nonprofit organization that provides a home away from home for families of children being treated at UNC hospitals. Since opening in 1988, the house has welcomed more than 1,000 families each year to stay at this safe haven. The house relies heavily on community support. How can you help? Become a volunteer. Help the house that love built. The Ronald McDonald House, the house with a heart.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. Carolina basketball has a full-fledged case of the basketball woes. After a fifth straight loss this Saturday to UConn, the Heels must now face in-state rival NC State and Clemson in the coming week. And another Tar Heel has been put on the injury ER. Freshman Jackie Manuel has an injured left foot suffered in practice this week and is out indefinitely. Senior Jason Capel has missed the past 2 games and will likely miss the state game Wednesday night because of a concussion suffered in practice. The Lady Heels are trying to readjust after a tough week as they hit the halfway point of their conference schedule. Carolina Week's Steve Lyerly has the story.
The ladies are down, but they're hoping this week they can get back up. After starting the season 13-2, the Lady Heels have lost 3 out of the last 4, including disappointing home losses to rival NC State and Georgia Tech.
Wow, it's crazy. You know, like you said, we started out blowing teams out. Like the first time we played Wake Forest, we blew them out by like 30, and then to lose to them by 1 at their place, you know, it's kind of hard.
Injuries to key players like Candace Sutton and a 1-game suspension of star guard Nikki Teasley have compounded the Heels' streak of bad luck.
Definitely our intensity level has gone down a lot. We played tremendous at the beginning of the season. Everybody, you know, was fired up, was intense, and I think that's just something that we have to get back.
The ladies know the season isn't lost, and there's no better way to get back on track than with a win against the top team in the ACC. Arch rival Duke.
It's Duke, so you know you're going to get pumped up, you know, our rival school. So that's really all the motivation that you need, just to go out there and play hard.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Steve Lyerly, Carolina Week.
The Lady Heels will travel to Durham Thursday night to take on the Devils. And going into that game, they're 14-5 overall and 4-3 in ACC play. The Carolina wrestling team is in a midweek lull, awaiting a doubleheader this Saturday. And if this past Saturday's toppling of Ohio University and Cumberland College is any indication, it will be another good weekend for the Heels. In the match with Ohio, it was a story of the big and the small. Heavyweight Matt Kenny is pestered for a while, but would soon dominate and win 16-5 in a major decision. Next up, 125-pound Chris Rodriguez wastes no time at all, winning by pinning Ohio's Mike Caruso in just 2 minutes. So big and so small do it all for the now 6-2 Heels. Track is often considered a solitary sport, but as the Carolina track and field team proved this weekend, it's being part of the team that matters. The Lady Tar Heels finished first in their first scored indoor meet of the season, defeating 9 other teams. The men placed second. A key to this success was the performance of the relays, which epitomized strength and determination of these individuals to work as a team. 4 individuals running in succession, passing a thin baton that unites them. The effort is more intense, the excitement is greater, and the exhaustion is more visible.
Just the team bond. I mean, I feel like when you run on a relay team, you're running for your team, not just for yourself, and it's a great feeling.
The Tar Heels look forward to seeing continued team success against 65 teams in the Blue Heaven Classic this weekend. On the road this week, in its second meet of the year, the Carolina gymnastics team finished second in the George Washington Invitational. The Heels will next hit the road to Ball State for its Invitational. These women sure are popular. The men's tennis team had an impressive weekend at the ACC Indoor Championships, going 21-10 in matches, the best in the conference. Sophomore Andrew Metzler lost in the singles final, and 2 other Heels fell in the doubles finals. While many people see Carolina as a basketball school, some may not realize how surprisingly similar swimming is to basketball. Last week, the men's basketball team is pumped to play a highly ranked Virginia team. Men's swimming took on a highly ranked Virginia team Saturday, and they are pumped. Jason Capel drives the lane against UVA for the strong finish. Sophomore Yuri Surigami drives the lane for a strong first-place finish in the freestyle. In the end, however, UVA would be too strong for basketball and for swimming as the Cavaliers hold off the heels. And the women's meet was also hotly contested, but UVA pulled that one out as well. And one other news of note, men's soccer coach Elmar Bolovich, National Coach of the Year after winning the national title.
There's some good news.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
When students come to Carolina, they hope to take their academics to a higher level.
Next, you'll meet a student who's reaching new heights outside the classroom.
What's wrong, Mrs. Jenkins? Come on, you can tell me.
Well, there's no funding for the new reading program, and I've tried everything and nothing works. It's not fair. Nobody ever gives me funding.
When adults run out of ideas, they can feel as frustrated as kids. ConnectForKids.org has thousands of resources for helping kids in your community.
Mrs. Jenkins, holding your breath is not going to get you any more funding.
ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Carolina Week is proud to bring you coverage of the university
and the surrounding community.
Next week, we'll take an in-depth look at Chancellor Measer's quest to make Carolina the nation's leading university.
And be sure to tune in 2 weeks when I sit down for an interview with George Stephanopoulos.
Carolina Week.
News that affects you. While most Carolina students are jumping into a new semester, one UNC athlete is jumping over, well, anything you put in front of him. Carolina Week reporter Jennifer Bird explores the unique sport of high jumping.
7 feet 4.5 inches. It's higher than a doorway, higher than Chris Lang, and even higher than the common SUV. UNC junior Adam Shunk jumped this high last weekend, ranking him #1 in the nation. Shunk says his trick is simple.
As you can see, I got the magic shoes on, and I attribute all my success to them. Without the shoes, can't jump.
But it's not springs in his lucky shoes that keep him jumping this high.
He works hard. He's intense and he's focused.
He might even have some basketball players a little worried. So who inspired you to be able to high jump?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Mighty Mouse and Superman, obviously because he can leap over tall buildings in a single bound.
The Indiana native also has a different side.
Adam, boy.
It's just all natural ability.
He's energetic, he's fun, he's crazy.
We're all jealous.
And he's bouncy.
Might as well jump!
Instead of Adam teaching me the technique of high jumping, I decided to keep my feet firmly on the ground. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jennifer Bird, Carolina Week.
Adam Shunk was named ACC Athlete of the Week for his ability to jump. His next stop, the Olympic trials. And it would be nice to see him on the basketball team.
Certainly would. They could help us out. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to watch next week.
Good night.